Chinese People's Liberation Army (PLA) has deployed its most advanced hypersonic missile, the DF-17, to the Chinese mainland's southeast coast near the island of Taiwan, Hong Kong media reported on Sunday, sparking fear on the island. Citing an anonymous source, the Hong Kong-based South China Morning Post said on Sunday that the PLA has deployed DF-17 missiles to the area that would gradually replace the older DF-11 and DF-15 missiles, which have shorter ranges and less accuracy. The DF-17 has a maximum range of 2,500 kilometers, the report said. This report has aroused fear on the island of Taiwan, with media including the Taipei-based newspaper The Liberty Times reporting that the DF-17 could enable the PLA to directly attack Taiwan Air Force bases in Taidong and Hualien in the east of the island. Taiwan media also noted that the PLA has been deploying J-20 stealth fighter jets and Marine Corps units to the coastal region in preparation for a possible reunification by force operation. We said that if the DF-17 is forward deployed near the Taiwan Straits, it can effectively control the region, deter Taiwan secessionists and keep foreign interventions away. The PLA rocket force's older generation missiles are already sufficient to wipe out most of Taiwan's key military installations, and the island is not capable of intercepting them, so it is not necessary to use the DF-17 against the island's military, Chinese mainland experts said, noting that the DF-17 will play a more significant role in stopping forces from the US, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and other locations should they attempt to militarily interfere in China's internal affairs. The PLA operates the DF-21D and DF-26 anti-ship ballistic missiles capable of sinking aircraft carriers. Taiwan media said that the DF-17 could also serve this purpose. Meanwhile, the United States has deployed an aircraft carrier group led by the USS Ronald Reagan in the contested South China Sea for the third time this year, the U.S. Navy said on Friday. The Carrier Strike Group carried out flight operations, maritime strike exercises, and tactical training. Rear Admiral George Wickoff, commander of the Carrier Strike Group, said in a statement that the operations focused on cooperation alongside our Indo-Pacific allies and partners in promoting regional stability. Throughout our deployment, we continue our long tradition demonstrating the United States' commitment to the lawful use of the seas and maintaining open access to the international commons, he said. Sailing nearly 56,000 nautical miles so far this deployment, the strike group is committed to upholding U.S. security agreements with regional allies and partners and demonstrating the capability of forward-deployed naval forces to quickly respond to any contingency throughout the region. The Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group is forward deployed to the U.S. 7th Fleet area of operations in support of a free and open Indo-Pacific region. U.S. 7th Fleet conducts forward-deployed naval operations in support of U.S. national interests in the Indo-Pacific area of operations. As the U.S. Navy's largest numbered fleet, the 7th Fleet interacts with 35 other maritime nations to build partnerships that foster maritime security, promote stability, and prevent conflict.
However, sales sophisticated military equipment to Taiwan including MQ-9 drones and a coastal defense missile system, increasing getting pushed by the White House for defense fueling further tensions in the territory.
Cropsey warns these are not just a complex form of political signaling, but rather are preparations for an attack on Taiwan, with the goal being to subjugate it before the US and its allies can respond. The idea of a succession crisis is being widely disseminated by Western media agencies and even by conservative pundits like Cropsey, who served as Deputy Undersecretary of the Navy under Reagan and George H.W. Bush administrations. By contrast, China's CCP government faces no such threats. There are no fears of a succession crisis in a nation that doesn't have popular elections, and no partisan enmity in a nation where any potential partisans are locked up in re-education camps, prisons, or merely exterminated. In light of the above information, it comes as small comfort to those who live in Taiwan to learn that 9,000 U.S. troops will join 37,000 of their Japanese counterparts in a joint field training exercise around Kagoshima, Japan, 26 and November 5th. Canada will also send a ship. Operation Keen Sword is the latest in a series of joint training exercises designed to increase combat readiness and interoperability of Japanese and U.S. forces, the U.S. Navy said.
And why does it matter? because Beijing has claims the South China Sea is his, but its claims overlap with those of several other nations, and including it has been criticized several other nations for building military facilities on disputed islands. And until recently they has frequently objected to United States Navy exercises and operations in the South China Sea, and then to claiming that Washington has carried out navigational hegemony, and also has driven militarization of the waterway by sending warships into the region. And next, Washington has accused China of reckless and provocative militarization of outposts in the sea, and also including engaging in a campaign of bullying against smaller regional powers in the areas. And now, what is the United States doing in the South China Sea? Now, the deployment of the USS Ronald Reagan in the region, aiming to support of a free and open Indo-Pacific, followed two previous such operations this year. The first operation was performed on July. The U.S. conducted air defense exercises in the South China Sea that involved by two carrier groups, led by the USS Ronald Reagan and the USS Nimitz at the time, and the operation coinciding with Chinese military exercises in the waters. And the second operation in August, that involving the USS Ronald Reagan, conducted flight operations and also high-end maritime stability operations there. And next, by reinterpreting an international arms control agreement called the Missile Technology Control Regime, or called MTCR. And for land-based Harpoon anti-ship missiles, made by Boeing, that aiming to serve as coastal defense cruise missiles. And this is Tuesday's other congressional pre-notification. And next, one of the sources said, the approximately 100 cruise missiles that were notified to Capitol Hill would have a cost of about $2 billion. And next, Washington has accused China of reckless and provocative militarization of outposts in the sea, and also including engaging in a campaign of bullying against smaller regional powers in the areas. And now, what is the United States doing in the South China Sea? Now, the deployment of the USS Ronald Reagan in the region, aiming to support of a free and open Indo-Pacific, followed two previous such operations this year. The first operation was performed on July. The U.S. conducted air defense exercises in the South China Sea that involved by two carrier groups, led by the USS Ronald Reagan and the USS Nimitz at the time, and the operation coinciding with Chinese military exercises in the waters. And the second operation in August, that involving the USS Ronald Reagan, conducted flight operations and also high-end maritime stability operations there. And next, by reinterpreting an international arms control agreement called the Missile Technology Control Regime, or called MTCR. And for land-based Harpoon anti-ship missiles, made by Boeing, that aiming to serve as coastal defense cruise missiles. And this is Tuesday's other congressional pre-notification. And next, one of the sources said, the approximately 100 cruise missiles that were notified to Capitol Hill would have a cost of about $2 billion. Taiwan has 5 weapon systems that are moving through the process, that recognized by Taiwan government sources. Weapon sales under an informal review process, before the State Department sends its formal notification to the legislative branch, the United States Senate Foreign Relations, and also including House of Representatives Foreign Affairs committees have the right to review, and also block. Said the sources, who are familiar with the situation but declined to be identified. Leaders of the committees were notified that the planned weapons sales had been approved by the American State Department, which oversees foreign military sales, said the sources. And on Monday, Reuters reported that informal notifications had already been sent to Congress, aiming for a truck rocket launcher, known as a high-mobility artillery rocket system, and also including long-range air-to-ground missiles called SLAM-ER, and external sensor pods mounted on F-16 jets, and this allow the real-time transmission of imagery and data from the aircraft back to ground stations. Now, ex-Pentagon official provides support and relief, and suggests leasing F-35 stealth jets to Taiwan to ward off an invasion from Beijing. a retired Pentagon official said on October 8. In the face of aggressive incursions by China's Air Force in the territory, the United States should help Taiwan by leasing it F-35 stealth jets.